Okay, so we start off with just a black screen and music is a big part of the scene because there's no dialogue until the very end of it, and it's all music. And then we go to this like view of the pool in the way.
And the music also kind of says something about what Ben is feeling. He's very alone and silent. And there's also lots of dissolves in this scene, which kind of demonstrates how all of his days are just blending together. And there isn't a great sense of time in this scene, but um, at some point they say that the affair lasted like a month, and this whole scene will be like a month of time, but it passes very quickly, and you don't really know it until you see it all.
And so we have a few of these dissolves where he's floating in the pool and he's aligned on the thirds, either like bottom third or right third or left third.
And it's always very focused on Ben. Like, it's always focused on him. It's just his face. And his face always has the same expression, too.
And here we're about to start on our first few of our like graphic matches. But
So he's at his home right now, and he's getting out of his pool. And then he puts on his shirt. And he walks through this door. And you think he's going to go inside. But he actually, when he goes in, there's the graphic match, and he's suddenly at the Taft Hotel walking in to have more of his affair with Mrs. Robinson. And you can see his face, it's very neutral and bored almost. And he's very, like, doing the same movements over and over again, not really caring about what's going on.
and yeah, if you saw that tracking shot coming in for pretty much the entire scene, we stay directly on Ben, and he's like in the shot almost constantly, and always like right front and center.
And his expression is not changing, his body language isn't changing, and it just kind of shows that Ben isn't changing. The background and his setting may be changing, but he's not changing at all. Like, he still feels the same.
And here we have a close up on his face with really hard lighting, and when it moves out, you can see that he's in a completely different place now.
And here he's shutting the door on his parents. Like, he doesn't care what his parents think anymore. He doesn't want to listen to them anymore. He's just saying, "Get out of my life. I don't want you here."
And then we're about to have another close up on his face, I believe. Yeah.
And this graphic match is really interesting too, because you don't actually know what's going to happen with it. And there's a song change, and it's still kind of sad song about him.
And you can see his face has still not changed at all.
Yeah. And it's still very focused on him, even though Mrs. Robinson is going back and forth out of the frame.
Yeah. And in a second, I think there's going to be.
And once again, it's following Mrs. Robinson now. But if you look on the third, you can see his face in the reflection, like it's still focused on him.
And then we have another close-up direct on him, and see he's smoking again, which obviously he wasn't doing before. And now he's back in his room.
And you can kind of see the fish tank, like he's trapped in his life.
And he just looks kind of like desperate, like alone. He's like looking outside, and all these graphic matches and like switching between different locations, it just makes it seem like he's just like drifting through life, and like he looks like really alone, just because even when he's like with Miss Robinson, he's just kind of sitting there, just like with a blank face.
He's very disconnected from his life. Like, he doesn't really care. He's floating through life, as it says later in the scene. And although the settings change, it's still following him, and he's not changing. And he was depressed in the beginning, and even though he has this new distraction of Mrs. Robinson, he's still like the same depression rise. It's not really helping.
And then we're about to have another graphic match right here, because as you see, he dives in the pool right there, and then we go straight to him.
That's more continuity, but.
And then there's that, obviously.
Ben, what are you doing?
And then there's another dialogue overlap.
And then his dad's talking to him. And this scene kind of shows his parents' concern about Ben.
and then he says, "I'm just drifting."
Well, it's very